Hello, beautiful conscious creators. Today I want to share with you an incredibly powerful tool to clear negative energies and entities from your field. But before I go on, it would really support me if you would give my video a like and definitely share it with anybody who could benefit. And I think the truth of the matter is we've all been affected by negative energy. Now, this tool is so powerful that it can support us in many ways, but today I'm going to focus on how it can assist us specifically for clearing negative energies and lower consciousness energies from our energetic field. So stay with me until the end because that's when I'm going to give the one and only tool you'll need, and we'll practice it together. But first, I want to touch on a couple of key points. The first is that we're all energy beings, right? We are energy and consciousness in this physical body. Because of this, we are easily affected by energy because we're energy. And because we don't see energy, it can seep into our field without us knowing until we start to feel the effects of it. Now, I'm not someone who protects myself from the outside world and energies every day. It's just not how I choose to live day to day. I'd rather expand my light out than be in a contracted, protected state. However, I will say that it is healthy and supportive to be intentional and to envelop ourselves in light and to intend that nothing can penetrate the light of our field when we're going to be going into a place where there may not be the best energy to begin with. So, for example, someone's home where they're not the healthiest in mind, body, and spirit, where there may be really unsanitary conditions or a lot of trauma, arguments, anger. Bars are another example where people are really intoxicated and the energy frequency is quite low. Or you're going to be spending time with someone who isn't mentally stable or has addiction issues or isn't living a healthy lifestyle. Or perhaps you're going to be bringing someone into your home to stay with you who may have these issues. And so for that reason alone, you may even reconsider doing that. But basically, anytime it is you're going to be bringing someone into your space, your home, or you're going to be going into their space, we do need to be mindful and intentional. So I'm going to give some examples of what I mean and how I've been affected so that you know what to look out for. So the first example I'm going to give is house hunting. If you're sensitive to energy and you're house hunting, going into other people's spaces, you're going to be affected by their energy. So there were times where I didn't protect myself and I was affected by bad energy, where I got horrible headaches, I wasn't feeling positive, and then that energy can really glom onto you. Okay, the second example I want to give is many years ago, I'd invited someone to stay with me whose energy I was affected by negatively because she had some entities in her field that I wasn't aware of up front. All right. The third example is I was doing some work with an organization who dealt with a lot of family trauma. And the workers of this organization had their outlook on life was very limited. And I went in there not realizing it. And one time it really affected me. And so I'll explain more about that in just a bit. Now, lastly, I was recently assisting somebody who was living in very unsanitary conditions, living alone, drinking alcohol, was a hoarder. So really not a great situation. And again, I found myself negatively affected. So let's talk about what does it feel like to be affected by lower energies and how do you know when this is happening? So the first thing I want to say is I've had it happen very quickly where I'm affected. And other times I've had it happen slowly where you don't realize it until it's made its way into your being and now you're not feeling so well. So for example, with house hunting, you don't know how the people are living their lives. So you might find that it doesn't feel so good to be in there. And I've gone into homes where I've got headaches or I've had to leave because I've had headaches. I've felt nauseous. Maybe your thoughts also become negative, because they might have really backwards thinking. And so then now your thinking is like affected by that. But usually in these situations, you're in the house and then you leave. And I found that the energy clears pretty quickly. So that's how it happens quickly. Now, with the organization I was doing work with, I had made several visits to their offices, and the more I worked with them, the more it became very clear to me that it was a very disempowered environment with how their thinking was. And one time I left their place, came home, and all of a sudden my energy was being siphoned out of me, and I felt so weak. It was a horrible feeling. It was just, I felt my energy levels just being sucked right out of me. And I heard my guidance come in and say, you need to clear your energy field. So immediately I worked with Archangel Michael to clear my field. And in an instant, my energy began to return to me. Now, that's one way to do it, is to ask Archangel Michael for assistance. But the tool I'm going to show you is different. Now, let me talk about how it happens slowly. So now it can happen, much more slowly, as I mentioned earlier, where it just kind of seeps in over time and becomes way more disruptive. When it becomes way more disruptive is when I've spent time with somebody in a close setting over time who had this lower consciousness in their field. And what happens is it starts to make its way into your field, into your mind, body, and emotions, almost like being infected with a virus. So you might get sick, physically sick. You might just not feel well physically. You feel run down. It'll zap any motivation or enthusiasm or optimism that you have. It's going to lower your thinking. Your thoughts will become negative and you'll just feel off. You'll notice that your thoughts are just kind of spiraling, So these are some of the signs to look for. Now, what happened to me most recently, I want to share with you, is that where my guidance shared with me the tool that I'm going to share with you is that I had been spending time with a person I was assisting who was living in very unsanitary living conditions over the course of a couple of weeks. And I was helping this person. And I just started noticing that my thoughts were racing and spiraling all at the same time. And so in the middle of the night, I would wake up and have this happen. And at first I thought, well, maybe I just have a lot on my mind, or I'm more stressed than I realize. And so this continued to happen. And over the course of the coming nights and days, and I started to realize I'm not feeling great as I laid in bed. And so I started to visualize clearing my field with light, setting the intention to dissolve any cords of attachment to anybody else or to me. And that wasn't enough. That wasn't helping. And that can feel pretty unsettling when these tools that should work aren't working. So finally I said, God, help me. What do I need to do? I need help. Flat out, I need help. And I immediately heard, I am. And when I heard that, I knew exactly what to say next. It just came to me. I am all that I am. And I put my hand on my heart as I laid in bed and kept saying it over and over. I am all that I am. I am all that I am. And immediately the energy started to shift and relief set in. It was so powerful that it made me cry. And I'm going to explain why. And as I kept saying it in that moment, I felt my power come back to me. I felt me connected to my power, and it anchored in me. And I want to say that there is nothing more powerful than the divinity that is me and the divinity that is you. And that this is the tool this is the tool that I'm sharing with you, is you put your hand on your heart and you say it with conviction, I am all that I am. And that, what this does is that you're working with your I am presence, which is your divinity. It's the divinity that is you. And so when you say, I am all that I am, you are claiming your divinity. There is nothing more powerful than that. Think about it. What could be more powerful than claiming your divinity? Nothing. Because there's nothing more powerful than God. And in that moment, you're not separated from God. When you claim your divinity, game over. Game over. That's it. And that's what I want to share with you today, is that I know I will never feel disempowered with unseen energies again. I know exactly what to do. It's all in me and it is all in you, because we are one with God. So the divinity is within you as it is within me. I hold the power and you hold the power. That's it. There's no other answer than to claim your divinity. And we can add to that, as I did, to expand on that truth by saying, and say it with me, hand on your heart, say, I'm all that I am. I am all that I am. I am divine will. I am divine love. So let's do that together again. Hand on your heart. Deep breath in. I am all that I am. I am all that I am. I am all that I am. I am divine will. I am divine love. That is so incredibly powerful. You will feel your energy and outlook shift immediately when you do that. It's powerful, it's truth, and it can be used daily throughout your day. And certainly to dissolve any lower frequency energies back into love again as you stand in truth, power, and divinity. I would love to hear in the comments below how this works for you. If you want to share it with me, what you think about this, if you've had any issues like this come up where you've been affected by lower consciousness energies. It's not a fun feeling. And I knew, when I was given this tool, that I want to share it with other people because it is a game changer. Like I said earlier, when you do that, I don't care what energy is affecting you, game over. When you stand in your power, you claim your divinity, that's it. That is it. And it was an immediate shift for me, an immediate relief. And when I felt my power get restored, it did bring tears into my eyes. It did make me teary-eyed. I did cry because I could feel the difference of coming from a disempowered state and coming from an empowered state as my divine self. So thank you so much for joining me today, and I will see you in my next video.